Okay, so April 17th and 19th, I guess that's about 3 weeks ago? No. 2 weeks ago, yeah, okay. I was in Pittsburgh, attending Rails Conference 2018. Who went there besides me? Nobody. Perfect. Alright, perfect. Okay, so you guys cannot really validate what I'm going to be telling you, so great. Perfect.
That's true.
Yeah, before I talk about anything, I'm just going to level set some expectations here, okay? It's not going to be technical. If you guys came here to learn something new, you should leave now, okay? You got the food, go home. It's fine. But if you want to have a meaningful conversation about Rails, especially in Atlanta, then stay, okay? First of all, I have a confession to make. Very personal, so don't laugh. About 2 years ago, I decided to give up on Rails. Yeah. But why am I here? I'm glad you asked. So, I started programming in 2001, 2002. I look pretty young, but I've been around for some time. So I started coding, and I really liked it, but not really, because I had brilliant ideas in my head, but when I tried to translate my idea into product, it was just taking so long. Have you guys used classic ASP before?
Yes.
Or ASP.NET? Crap, man, it took me like 3 months to build a website. So like my head is spinning, right? My idea is keep on moving, but like I didn't have a single page up and running because I have to provision my database, I have to set up my own server, and so on and so forth. Have you been there before?
Yes.
And then, so I continued to do job as a programmer because I got married. I had to feed people, right? And then something dawned on me, which was there's something called Rails, and everybody talked about it. It was around 2010, right? But I never had time to learn it because I was so busy creating my own SQL schemas and crap for my company, right? That I was working for. And when I got to home, like I told you, I had a wife, so I couldn't really work on anything. But around 2012, I was working for a company called CareerBuilder.com. Have you guys used them before to find a job on that? Yeah, they're kind of going down the drain right now, but that's not the point, right? At the time, that was one of the best companies to work for in Atlanta. It was like a part-out of 2015, right? You guys know the part-out? Yeah, it's one of the best places to work. And now it's pivotal, but yeah. So at CareerBuilder, we used to have a quarterly hackathon. So if you win a hackathon, then you get to work on your own project for 5 weeks, and they give you $10,000 as prize. So the very first one I won, not the full one, but honorable mention. So I got $5,000, but I got to work on my own project, right? My own idea. So using that time, using that opportunity, I picked up Ruby on Rails. Because everybody talked about it, right? Everybody, like, if you want to build a startup, you've got to use Rails, right? So I learned it. Within 2 weeks, I picked it up, and I was able to whip up a beautiful looking website in like 2-3 weeks. That was it. I was like, wow, this is awesome. Rails plus Heroku. Have you guys used Heroku before?
Yeah.
You know what it is, right? It allows you to deploy your web application really easily to the cloud. And once I grasped it, for the first time in my life, I loved programming. I was so there's a baby. And I've been saying rather colorful words. I apologize. No more. Okay, so going back to this whole story, so I fell in love with programming once again. You know, it's like writing your first hello world. You know how excited you were? You had this fire in your heart, right? And then you kind of watch it dies down because of this Java thing and .NET thing. Oh, you're leaving because of me?
No. I don't want to see you.
Oh, okay. For the first time in Rails Ruby community meetup, we have seen someone leaving because of the language. Yeah, but it's okay. So here's my point. Rails really rekindled fire in my heart, right? And during that time, so I decided to leave my company and I started my own consulting company because I saw valid proposition right here. Because if I were to use Java or ASP.NET, I could not whip out code fast enough for my client. So I was actually making money by taking up a project at a very low price point, but still was able to make $100 an hour because I could build a website within a week. Full-blown app, right? So I enjoy doing that, and one of my clients decided to hire me. So they gave me some good numbers, and what happened was my wife and I had second child. So, you know, consulting life, like you make money a lot, but then you don't make money. So I just couldn't do this anymore. So I decided to join the company. And I brought Rails with me. Hey guys, you gotta use Rails. But they said no. They said, Rails is not for the big boys. It's for startups. It's a toy project. You know, we build real stuff, man. We are an enterprise company. I don't know how you do E, but enterprise company, right? So, since then, I stopped coding in Rails. I just did .NET because that's what pays the bill, right? I walked away, and I keep hearing these things. Rails is dying. Rails is dying. Have you heard that before? Rails is dying. Oh, you haven't?
Yes.
Yes.
I've heard it, yes.
If you talk to yeah. How about other people? You haven't heard it before? Rails is dying?
I've heard it.
You have heard it? Oh, be honest. Hey,
I've heard
you all.
everything.
Okay. Right. But Rails, in particular, lost popularity really fast. Thanks to JavaScript. I'm gonna get to those B people later. But frameworks. But Rails is dying, is what I heard from the street. And enterprises, they don't appreciate Rails. Do you agree with me? Yeah? Let's be honest with ourselves. Talk to Fortune 500. Who uses Rails?
Home Depot.
Home Depot uses it. Yeah, hell yeah, Home Depot. Yeah. That's right. Rails is dying. No one uses it anymore. It's all about JavaScript now. React, Angular, those cute names, right? They took over the world. You agree with me? No. That's good. I like that. And I went to the Rails conference, and one lady said, Rails is not dying. It's maturing. Oh my gosh. When I heard that, I'm like, are you serious, lady? Yeah, she was serious. So, Aileen, I think that's her name. Aileen? How do you read it? Aileen, yeah, sure, yeah. Yeah, this lady, okay, lady. This lady is one of the main contributors to Rails. Rails web framework, open source. And she's actively working on Rails to make it more enterprise ready. Yeah? Because Rails is not known as scalable. Do you guys agree with that statement?
No.
Okay. Who said no?
I said no.
Why? Why not?
because scalability depends upon one, your what is developer time or server execution more costly for you, and two, it can be architected to scale as a matter of DevOps, not of the process. And three, if you do have something that's CPU heavy, there are variants of Rails that are optimized that end up with optimized bytecode. So that is not a reason to avoid Rails and Ruby.
Okay. Some other one, yeah.
So like when I heard people actually say that, and like truthfully, the truth is if you have big DevOps, if you're just like I need to handle a million requests, like you can do that by just standing out your application layer and having a common database. The thing I've heard that's more specific is not Rails, but having one giant or monolithic application is hard to scale. So in some cases they're technical, but more from like a personnel perspective. So like if you have 100 developers, like people complain about not having things broken out in services. It's not Rails unique, it's actually true almost really any of these sort of frameworks that if you decide to build things, it's one thing to break it apart.
All right.
That's where I've seen when you say scalable, that's not unique to Rails in my opinion.
Right. One more person.
I was just going to say, I think scalability is really a function of architecture more than it is a framework. And I don't think there's anything in the framework that limits the thing. It's how you use the framework that's a limiting factor.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say more that only like 5% of apps really need that kind of scalability. That
Sure.
Rails is even a question mark.
Okay.
Shopify uses it.
Yeah. Shopify uses it. GitHub uses it. GitHub just celebrate their 10th year anniversary, and they were one of the biggest sponsors for Rails. They were very thankful for Rails community because what Rails did for GitHub side note is the whole emergence of open source movement. It's really started by Rails, right? Yeah, React, Angular, and all those things. Yeah, cool. But who's the daddy? Rails, right? But we always hear this example. Twitter used Rails before, but it couldn't scale, so they moved over to Java or Scala, right? And you hear that over and over from our friends in enterprises, over and over from Java community and other so-called high-performance technology people, right? But yeah, I completely agree with you. And it was very evident that Rails folks, main contributors, are aware of this notion. I think they have known this thing for a while, that Rails is known as non-scalable solution. So they announced that yes, Rails can scale in Rails 6. Because they are doing two things now. They're adding two new features. So you should be able to run all your tests in parallel, out of the box. You don't need a gem. It is a first-class citizen, right? So do you guys value unit testing or end-to-end testing?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
You really do it? I really did it.
If you do it to a level that's not that good, I mean, if you want 100% coverage, then some kind of like things sometimes make no sense, but to some extent, yes.
To some extent, okay. All right. We have a little different take at Pivotal. We actually do 100% test-driven development because it works. And I can send you guys a link to an article that actually show you why TDD makes sense in enterprise level or even at a smaller scale, because you will end up spending a lot less time maintaining your code. But that's not the case at this point. You should be able to run all your tests in parallel without any gems and any other setups. Okay? Number two, running tests, I don't know if running tests has to do with the scalability. Because when I think about scalability, is can your app handle lots of traffic, right? Lots of workload. So to combat that, both Shopify and GitHub, because they have a lot of users hitting them, right? And they're using Rails. How can they circumvent all this workload? How do you think they do that? You probably already know.
Load balancing.
Load balancing, of course. And then, but then, like if you think about it, if you have a monolithic solution, what becomes the bottleneck usually is the connection between the application layer and database layer, right? So you can shard, and also what Shopify folks and GitHub folks are doing is they have multiple databases. So you have one main app, and it has two different databases that it works with. One is the main database that are for writing, yeah? It does updating, inserting. And then another database for read-only. Because more oftentimes you do read, then update and delete and whatnot. So they have actual two different databases serving up one application. Does that make sense? So that's how a lot of, not just Rails products that use Rails, but other type of systems use to be more scalable. Does that make sense? And in Rails 6, they are going to make it first-class citizen. So you should be able to use by configuring your database.yaml, you'll be able to have two different, you can actually work with two different databases. Does that make sense? Yeah. So your model, even though you have one model, you should be able to talk to two different databases. Yeah? One for reading and one for updating and inserting and whatnot. And the point that this lady that I cannot say her name right, this lady right here, she's the one who's actively working in it right now with help from Aaron Patterson, the Tender Love guy. I didn't put the picture of him here because he looks kind of different. And I don't think the South is ready for his picture. So go to his GitHub, Tender Love, like Tender Love, and you'll see some funky picture of him. But anyway, the lady was making this statement here. She works at GitHub. She's like, hey, we are making one-off solution to make it work for GitHub, right? We get a lot of traffic, and we solved it by, just hacking at it. We created a new gem. We created like all kinds of stuff to make this multi-database management true for GitHub. But they did not really share that technology with the rest of the community. And Shopify did the same thing. So all those big players are already doing a lot of work to make their app to work with multiple databases. But they kind of walked away from this whole open source community concept. So what she's doing is she's bringing all those things back into Rails. So if you use Rails, you should be able to take in a lot more traffic. Right? Does that make sense? So I think they are making a great stride towards making Rails more relevant to larger players. Yeah? Okay. And next thing that I want to talk about is JavaScript in Rails. Going back to my confession, so when I started using Rails, we were doing a lot of server-side JavaScript rendering. Have you guys done that before? JS.erb. I know you guys are rendering HTML using index.html, right? That's the format you would use to what's the word? Render HTML. How about JavaScript? We used to actually serve snippet of JavaScript from the back end and then send it back out to the front end. You know what that was called? What that was called? Ajax, right? That's how you used to do it. Remember that time?
Remember the hidden iframes?
Like this guy right here, man. Like, you don't remember this? You don't?
Yeah.
Who remember this?
Yeah. I saw code that works like that. Don't fix what's not broken.
Look. Old JavaScript way replaced with Angular, React, or another new kid of the block. Right? But you know what? This way of writing code somehow got bad name Because, code is dirty, oh yeah. And you know what happens? If you see this code in your system, your source code, people look down. He doesn't know 12 factor. Really? Are you serious? Really? Think about that. Because I actually admit, I backed down a little. I was like, maybe it looks dirty. Yeah, oh yeah. Maybe I should not have JavaScript code in the ERB side, you know? And then I started dabbling into Angular and React, and like I've celebrated. I know Angular, I know React, right? But in reality, did it really make me happier, right? And let me give you a little story. I went to RailsConf, so I should talk about the stuff I learned from RailsConf. So there's a guy. His top title was Old School JavaScript in Rails, or something like that. So I went in there, and he went on and talked for 40 minutes about how his production application that is being used by many people that contains nothing but these. So they decide not to go with React or Angular, and they decide to stay with the old school JavaScript way because it still worked, it was cleaner for them, because they could manage their code in one source code. Like, think about it, if you really want to use Angular and React right way, along with the Rails, you should never put those two apps together. Because that's against 12-factor rule. But you know what we do? We use Webpacker and stuff like that, and then we merge them together. But in reality is, our Rails can handle and does things Angular does really well using old school way. Right? And I actually wanted to go and hug him. Because he got some, not that, what would be a good word? He got some, not huevos, he got some courage. Yeah, that's courage, yeah? Yeah, he has some courage to go up to people. Like, we had about 50 people in the room and talked about how they use old school JavaScript way, which are kind of looked down upon nowadays. So, I have a question for you. Let's admit, we lost a lot of people from Rails community over to JavaScript, right? And probably like 90% of us are doing JavaScript, and we'll say, yeah, I do React and some Ruby. We may do that. So who uses JavaScript framework here? It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. What do you guys use? React. Vue. Oh, Vue, cool. Any Ember people here? Okay. How about Angular? Woo-hoo. Angular 1 or 2 or 4 or 6? 6? Okay. But my point is, I'm not trying to talk JavaScript framework or people who use it at all. What I'm telling you is, maybe it's time for us to not listen to what people say and think. And if they judge on you, like because of Rails is not scalable. JavaScript is the way to go for building front-end app. Maybe not it. Maybe that's not it. Maybe Turbo Links is the answer. Do you know what Turbo Link is? Mm-hmm. Man, I feel old. You should look it up. So Turbo Links makes your server-side rendered web application work like single page application. So what it does is it replaces the body area. Like when you navigate to another page, it replaces the body tag with the next page content of the next page, right? So it doesn't do a full get call. Why full get call is bad?
Latency.
Latency of what? I mean, I almost actually bring the content, the exact same amount of the content except the head part in here. Why is it fast?
The assets. It's the
assets.
CSS. It's everything.
Anytime you do a get call, it needs to download all the CSS files. Your browser will do some vertical caching, but turbolinks actually will make your web act like JavaScript app without you writing a single line of JavaScript code. So you should look into that. Okay, this is a picture of folks leaving very first keynote or the second keynote. Can you count how many people there are? Quite a lot, right? And behind me, there are almost same amount of people leaving. When I saw this, I was like, Rails may not be dying after all, right? And I had the privilege of having lunch with very pleasant folks, developers from Columbus, Ohio, and Cleveland, Ohio area. And they were telling me great news. The Rails community is actually growing there. When I thought Rails is dying in Atlanta, it's actually getting bigger and bigger in Midwest. I didn't expect that. And why the hell do we have a Rails conference in Pittsburgh? I don't really connect Pittsburgh to a startup scene, but you know what? It is. They have a huge Rails community there as well, right? Rails community is not dying. This guy, do you know this guy?
DHA.
This guy's so sexy, man. This guy, I'm telling you, man. When he walks up the stage and walk around and he does sort of I don't know, he talks kind of cute, but he's a thought-provoking, he's a thought leader, right? And he's kind of part of us. He leads us. Not leads us, but he's just not a thought leader for Rails, but the industry. Right? Think about Rails. Why do you like Rails? Anyone?
Fun.
It's fun. Yeah, fun. Okay. Huh?
Active record engagement is nice.
Okay. Oh, yeah. And go to the picture yourself. Okay. Yeah.
Super easy to learn.
Super easy to learn.
Get shit done.
Get shit done. Oh, the baby's not. Yeah. Okay. Any other reason? But what did you say?
It's super easy to learn. DHA said it.
Super easy to learn.
There's no end to how much you can learn.
Yeah. And he, he's so amazing. He came up with this crazy concept compression. Sounds so good. I wish I could do that. Concept compression. Well, what does that mean? What does that mean? Yeah. Compressed concept, right? That's what it means. Yeah.
There's another C in computer science. It's compartmentalization. So it means just object-oriented design taken to another extreme. The interface, you only have to deal with the interface. You don't have to deal with all the inner workings because it's encapsulated by the framework.
Yeah, what you said.
So this is another word for encapsulation.
Yeah, encapsulation. So he gave us a keynote, and that's the crux of what he talked about, concept compression. Concept compression is what made Rails popular and what makes Rails keep on moving. What does that mean? It's easy to, oh yeah, go ahead.
So you think a very practical thing I ran into today where I rewrote something from Sinatra into Rails, and I realized I was not parsing SSL, and I said, oh great, let me uncomment the line. So not even write the line, just uncomment the line to force SSL, which does three things, and there's huge articles of what it does. And it includes the CS, it secures the cookie, and it includes the redirect. And I was like, oh wait, I just thought I could make my thing SSL compatible. So I did one thing, and they did the three or four things that would make logical sense versus me having to write a bunch of middle layer and all that.
Yeah, right. It's easy to learn. because we captured a lot of boilerplating work, a lot of plumbing work away from people who are using it. Lower entry to barrier. Rails open up the door. You know why code schools are prevalent right now? Whoever's going to code school, whoever to part in code school, you should thank Rails. Because Rails is what started it all. Because Rails was so easy to teach and so easy to grasp, right? And what he talked for about an hour is that let's keep, I know people are saying Rails is not scalable. I know Rails is not known to be, things that big boys would use. But let's keep Rails as is, which is something that is easy to learn. And it invites anyone who's willing to learn, who's willing to become a software engineer, a chance. Does that make sense? And Rails is not dying because it's growing community. I threw a growing there, but because it's community. And going back to my confession, I thought I was done with Rails. I'll use it for my personal project. I'll use it for proof of concept, POCs, or whatever you call it, for MVP. Or once I have a paying customer, I move over to Java or Erlang or some other stuff, right? But Rails, it's not dying. And I think we have some work to do here. You and me. What can we do to make, I'm sorry it's Ruby meetup, but what can we do to make Rails prevalent or relevant in Atlanta? I know we have quite a few folks who are looking for a Rails job or Ruby job. How can we help them better? I know what I can do as a consultant. And I'm going to keep pushing for Rails. If my client wants to use Java, I'll be like, hey, it's not about using Rails and old school JavaScript way. We don't need React. I'll actually try that. That's at least thing that I can do. How about you guys?
I think we need supermodels.
What do you mean?
Software is a fashion industry. I've been around it long enough that the only way the top $300-400 an hour consultants can make a living is by having something new, fashionable, sexy. And it's always got to be something different. Once something gets mature, you can no longer get the big rates for it. The big consultants are always going to go for something new. It doesn't matter if it's more productive. It matters that it's new and not many other people know it, so you can justify a bigger rate.
Okay.
And software's been like that forever. And it doesn't necessarily make things easier, make things faster, make things more reliable. It makes rates higher.
Okay.
So we need supermodels.
Supermodel in Rails?
Yeah, something
Maybe Tender Love can just do a...
So, not joking, for sure, the average Rails application, if you talk to pen testers that review web applications for security defects, the average Rails application automatically doesn't have most of the most common mistakes that many other frameworks have because it has really good defaults.
Yep.
And so that is a benefit. I mean, you can take a Rails app and make it really insecure, but you're fighting against the default at that point. You're not just going with the framework's default decisions.
Yeah.
So you automatically, unless you do something stupid, don't have SQL injection, by and large. There's some edge cases. You automatically don't have cross-site requests for free. I mean, unless you go and turn it off. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can skip for free and you don't even think about it.
That's good. And that's a great point. One thing I forgot to mention is that Rails really dictated and also embraced best practices. Before I did Rails, all the communication, HTTP communication between browser to the web server was done through post. Do you remember that? Back in the days, man, forget about, I didn't even know put and delete and patch existed. It was all about post. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? So like HPMVC, classic ASP, all other like web framework or things that allow you to build web application kind of force you to use post. So the whole RESTful architecture, you heard of REST, right? That was there from day one of HTTP. But all these guys kind of somehow wandered away, like ASP.NET, Microsoft, and Java World. They kind of wandered away until Rails came in and said, hey, why can we not use HTTP verbs as they are designed, right? And that's one example. But there, I believe, I don't know what supermodel we can create for Rails, but I think there are things that we can still do to help Rails community and Rails growth. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead first.
So one thing that I've kind of noticed is like whenever you have a new technology, so like in case of the Rails, or things like Linux or Phoenix, there's a lot of like advanced, really passionate developers who will, interested in new technology, they'll go out and be sort of the front runners in establishing the libraries and the tooling, etc. And with Rails, it's a little bit less sexy just because like for most common use cases, there are established tools and we kind of just assume they're there, right? Like we just assume some of the landing device and our stuff and like whatever we're using. But over time, what will happen is like there will be fewer releases and more people not starting projects with things that we need or abandoning them because they're interested in something else. And I think it's incumbent upon people who are still actively using it, who may, and I'm including myself, just kind of like shading myself, like someone who's a consumer of a lot of these common libraries, who like after some time has had a confidence to probably maintain them, but is not spending the time to do that. Like that will make, I think I have a presentation where I show a chart of like new packages, and it's like they're all growing, so is Ruby gems, but like Node is exploding, right?
Right.
And actually the trend is not very good for Ruby gems in some ways because like people are less likely to start new gems in Ruby versus elsewhere. So that's like a really big area. Like it's not even just Rails. Like people buy into the Rails ecosystem. If we use in Rails, if we get all the gems in common, it used to be really hard to write a good app or have you know.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I think the big thing we do is like you said, like a lot of the early success came from education. And I think that's still a lot of the cases. I think one of the reasons why there's so many Java people out there is schools just like that's what they teach. And so like early on, like Rails is easy to learn, but now like so I do get into JavaScript because like when I was looking for Ruby about a year ago, like all the Ruby jobs was like, oh, you had like don't even bother talking to us if you haven't been doing it for like 10 years. But like somebody like you would have been who had done some Rails and JavaScript would like totally been like, yes, let's do this thing. Or other people would probably take it. You just like be willing to take somebody who was either maybe not even junior, but somebody who's just like in the middle and was like, hey, I know there's one particular technology, but like I know software engineering, I can get up and running. Like if you pay that small amount of cost up front, then you end up having somebody who sticks around. PHH talked about the base campus that like they invest in the people in the long haul. So they don't like jump straight. Like he actually refuses to hire people who have that much experience because they want somebody they can bring in, like teach and mentor the whole time, and they stick around, which ends up saving them a ton of money in hiring. So I think if we did that again and stopped doing like the whole like we're gonna pay some guy with 10 years of experience like $150,000 and he's gonna cash out in a year or two, and start investing in like people who have less experience but have like other transferable knowledge and like drive and all of that, then I think that would be like more people would start coming in. People get scared when they saw the article that like one particular boot camp stopped teaching with Rails. There was like, oh, Rails is dead. One boot camp stopped teaching it, so it's obviously dead. Well, like, if we follow more people in, like, it doesn't matter if it's true or not, but like, technology is going to be successful if it has people in it. So C is still used for fun stuff. It's like, that's what people know. It's like, it's there, it has packages for like people who learn it. All of that is cool teaching.
Yeah.
I go along with your point. I think one of the gaps, I guess, is that there's kind of a gap, experience gap between like the bootcamp grads and some of the people that just got introduced to Rails, and then there's like the senior level, and there's like a spot there that's missing of like mentorship or something to teach people some of the more computer sciencey things that lead to good architecture, that lead to good Rails apps. Kind of bridge the gap from I wrote a really good web app to now I can write enterprise class Rails apps. And it's been frustrating for me because I've got two senior developers that work for me, and finding people kind of in that spot that can use their mentorship. But they have like a year of experience or something. I know we get some boot camps and grads and stuff like that, but for me to hire them, is a bottleneck because they just don't have the budget for it. But I think of people coming out of some of these schools and stuff, and they need that stretch, right? They need to be able to fill some of those holes that you just can't get in a 12 or 24 week period.
It's definitely a better business case.
Yeah. One more.
About the kind of like sauce. One thing is like Ruby on Rails, it's so flexible that people tend to do something not that legit, like override the method missing or override all those methods. So if you kind of like take the shortcut every time your enterprise application is easily goes wrong, especially you don't have a kind of like architect or very senior principal developers kind of like in charge of those things. So that's what kind of like might be wrong for newbies. Like, well, they say, okay, that thing is working and they did it, and it's so much harder to maintain afterwards. That's also contributes to the scalable things. Another thing is like when we talk about Node.js NPM package versus the gems, I think NPM can resolve like different kinds of like dependencies, but Ruby gems kind of like when we upgrade one, it requires another dependency of certain version. It sometimes just conflict, and you need to kind of like do a lot of like research in how you resolve those conflicts, what's your code, and to me it's kind of like a little bit easier when we have
so your point is NPM is easier to use than...
it's kind of like, I got to some situation like the Ruby gems are in conflict, kind of like one requires like less than 3.4 or something, the other one requires 4 or something, and then you are...
The version mismatch?
Okay. There's many things for Ruby.
We have a great discussion, and I see your pain point. So we have a lot of people graduating from code school, and I used to teach at Tech Talent South, and I feel personally obligated to help as much as I can to people that we made money off of. Seriously, right? We are charging them like tens of thousands of dollars, and it kind of may sound like the jobs are guaranteed, but for you guys to find a job, and I feel for you, it's not easy. It's really hard to talk to recruiters, and you feel like you don't get any help. You talk to interviews, and you feel like you're not good enough. I know it hurts your feelings so much, but just like the gentleman right there, we want to help you guys as much as we can. And I think as a community, we got to figure out a way to bridge the gap, right? And one thing that we do at Pivotal is test-driven development, accompanied by pair programming. So I sit, and Asa is one of our developers as well. We actually look at two monitors, but they're mirrored. And I would write a test first. I'd be like, hey, I'll write you a test for this feature. And then the next person will make it pass. And then we are going to try to refactor the code as much as we can. And then it's his turn to write test. So what we found out while working with clients and new pivots is that it's the best way to ramp up junior developers. And that stuff works. And so maybe that's one of the things that we can employ at your workplace. But I'm sure there are other ways we can, as a Ruby group here, to rekindle fire for Rails within people that have left Rails. Rails is not dying because of its growing community. Thank you.